we're talking about another Microsoft Teams room option, the Lenovo ThinkSmart Hub 500, sitting right here beside me. This MTR option is not new. It has been here for a while, and I believe Lenovo is working on a follow-up option as we speak, so stay tuned for that. But this particular option, while being on the market for some time, is a rather unique and different option than some of the other more modular options that we've talked about and reviewed in previous videos. We're going to go over some of the capabilities that make this thing unique. For instance, the 360 swivel capabilities, as well as the 360 audio capabilities. And we're going to be demonstrating a Microsoft Teams meeting join experience, pairing the device with a Logitech Meetup. And then we've got a display back here plugged in via HDMI as well. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the device and dig right in. The Lenovo ThinkSmart Hub 500 is a different approach to the Microsoft Teams room system than some of the other form factors where you've got the center of room display that connects via cable to a compute, either a nook tucked under the table or in some other area. The ThinkSmart Hub 500 actually has the compute sitting here at the bottom. So this is where all your cables plug into for your peripherals, your camera, your internet, your power management. All that comes through the side here. We'll turn this around and lifting this up. You'll see that we've got a lot of different holes here where our cables will come out of. In order to open this up and plug all your cables in, you actually just have a couple little screws off to the side here. And I've already got the one out on the right-hand side. And once we pop that open, we bring this up closer and you can see in there on the far left, we've got the power. Next to that, we've got an HDMI port. We've got USB next to that, another HDMI port, and then 3 more USBs, another HDMI to the top, and then finally your Ethernet over to the far right. You've also got a jack for a headset right up at the top as well. I want to point out that we've got our Kensington lock right there. So when you close this, you can secure the device by connecting a Kensington lock to it. And then you've got the spot to screw in the cable management there to keep the door closed. So once we connect everything, our cables will all come out of these holes right down here. Taking a look right here, you see this is where all of the cables come out of, all these neat little holes. And you've got this bar along the top that holds them in place. To open that up, there's a little mechanism right up top here that you see there's an arrow. You will pull this off to the side, and then you can lift this up. We get all our cables neatly tucked into their spots, and then we close this back up. You hear it click, and all of our cables will then be secured in the proper order. One of the unique factors that you notice about the Hub 500 right off the bat is that we are at an angle right now, and that is because while the compute stays stationary on the table, and it does so easily by these grippy pads on each 4 of the corners there, the display itself is able to pivot or rotate at a 360-degree angle. So we can take it all the way around, and it stops at a certain point. So it does not keep on spinning beyond the 360, but you can turn it 360 degrees all the way back to the other side. Full range of motion, so no matter where you're at on the table, you can quickly and easily pivot the screen to be exactly where you need it to be, for maybe you want to turn over the reins for somebody else to manage the in-meeting functionality. Getting a little bit lower on the device, one thing I want to point out here is our motion sensor, this kind of glossy flat surface right here. There are settings within the device once we power it on where you can control at what stage the device will detect that there's no motion in the room and go into screensaver mode, save on power and device resources, etc. But this little sensor right down here detects if somebody walks in, and if there is motion, boom, the screen comes back on and you're back in business. With our display turned off to the side, you can see that we've got a 360-degree microphone array here in addition to Dolby Audio Premium sound coming out of that speaker. So whereas you may be able to use the USB ports for additional peripherals with your audio, you've got a 360-degree experience built right in for both your speakers and your microphone. Taking a look at the side of the device, we've got the power button sitting right here off to the side. The ThinkSmart Hub 500 has a 7th gen Intel Core i5 processor, comes with 8 gigs of memory. For the display, it has an 11.6-inch touchscreen, again 360 degrees rotatable, a 1920 by 1080 resolution, so your 1080p, and then the anti-glare and smudge-resistant surface. There is 128 gigs of storage SSD built in, and of course the preloaded software for the Microsoft Teams version of this is Windows 10 IoT Enterprise. For the audio, we've got dual Dolby Audio Premium tuned speakers and 2 dual array microphones. There are a number of ports in the back, including your RJ45 for your internet connectivity, 4 USB-A 3.0 ports, an HDMI in, including the capture card, and 2 HDMI outs for your dual screen capabilities, 3.5mm combination microphone audio out stereo jack, and then we have Wi-Fi capability as well, plus Bluetooth 4.2. Again, in the Microsoft realm, the device is certified for both Skype for Business and Microsoft Teams. Let's get some cables plugged in and power this thing up. One pointer before we get ready to plug all of our cables in: ensure that your touch display is facing the opposite direction of your cable management box. That way, when you open the box, it's got enough room for you to get your fingers in there without bumping into the display above. Again, before we plug everything in, we want to lift this bar up so that we have room to put our cables through these slots at the bottom. We pull back on this lever up top and lift up the bar. Let's get it all plugged in. Now that we've got everything plugged in, you can see we've tucked the wires down into their individual slots here. We can now push the bar down into place. It clicks in. The wires are being held firmly in their own place. They're not coming through at any spot that they shouldn't be. And we can now close the cable management box, and there you go. Our cables are all plugged in. Make note, I've only plugged in one HDMI cable for HDMI out. We will just be doing a single screen with this setup. We've got a Logitech Meetup camera plugged in via USB, and then we've got the power over here. Again, our audio is built in right here, as well as our microphones. So no need to plug any additional peripherals in for that. And the compute is sitting right here at the bottom, an all-in-one device. Let's get this thing powered up and see it in action. Again, our setup is fairly straightforward and pretty clean here. We've got a single HDMI out display at the back here. We've got the Logitech Meetup that we're using for our camera for this room system. And then the ThinkSmart Hub 500 itself sitting here, which again is that center of room touch display and the compute instead of a NUC, and your speakers and microphone array built all around the base. An all-in-one device, saving on some of the cables that we have to have running across the table. I do not have the rest of the cables tucked below, but as you can see, the cables come out the side of the device, and you could easily drop them down via a hole that you could put in a conference table, or that already exists in a conference table for that purpose, if you just position the Hub 500 in the right spot. Let's power this on and see how it all comes alive. As we plug the Hub 500 in, it does what we've gotten used to a lot of our other Teams room systems do. They go through their power on cycle. A lot of really cool ambient lights come into play. And in this case, you'll see we've got right along the bottom here a ring around the entire base that lights up as it comes to life. And there it is. We have the Microsoft Teams room system up and running. Looking at the display itself, we can see that we've got the display pulling up the Microsoft Teams Rooms app, and we are ready to connect it to the internet and sign into it. At the very top, though it may be hard to see right now, it says that we are not connected to the internet. One of the first things I want to point out about the device here is that when the device first came up, it was not connected to the internet. you'll notice I did not connect an Ethernet cable to the device for hardwired internet. Instead, what I did is came to the More and Settings. We plugged in the default password that it ships with for the admin, which is SFB, and we get in there. We come down to Windows Settings, which will prompt you to log in with the administrator down here in the bottom. You need to choose administrator and then again put the password in. Once it does, you're in a regular Windows 10 IoT Enterprise interface, not the Microsoft Teams app that the Skype profile launches into. You'll come down to your network connection down here and click on that and choose Wi-Fi and choose your Wi-Fi network and sign in. That's exactly what I did, and that's what got us online rather than a hardwired internet connection. Let's go back out and check out the actual interface. Before we demonstrate joining a meeting by tapping the join button on that Lenovo ThinkSmart Hub 500 demo meeting, I just want to recap that we have powered on the device. We did not connect the device with an Ethernet cable when plugging all of our cables in, so I went into the settings, what we showed you just a minute ago, through the More menu there and going into the Windows settings, connected to a Wi-Fi network, and then we signed in with the proper user account, just my own personal one for demo purposes, not a room account. The other thing that we did is to get the system all updated. I did that behind the scenes, so we applied various updates so that we had the latest version of the Microsoft Teams app on here, as well as the latest firmware for the operating system itself. If we go into More and we go to Settings, we are prompted to input the password. We have our default password still in play here. And as you'll notice, the screen is now showing the typical updated menu items for your current MTRs. We've got the About that gives us our app version and our Windows version. I've just updated those. The account is mine. We are using Skype for Business and Microsoft Teams with the Teams as the default. We've also got the Modern Auth turned off here. We can flick that on and log in via Modern Auth if we need to. On the advanced screen, we've got the Exchange sign-in information there. It's already good to go. We've got our automatic screen sharing enabled, show meeting names option enabled. Let me get a little closer here. Leave meetings automatically if everyone else has left. I'm going to toggle that off for demo purposes here. And then third-party meetings, Cisco WebEx. Notice that is a new option in there. If we go over to device, we've got the dual monitor mode up top. Scrolling in a bit more, we've got the Bluetooth beaconing, and then we've got the automatically accept proximity-based meeting joins. So with Bluetooth beaconing turned on, someone could be walking by on a mobile device, maybe joining a meeting on the fly. They don't have a meeting room to go to, they're just joining the meeting. And Bluetooth detects there's a nearby meeting room, this one, that is available. You can choose to join that meeting or that room to the meeting, and if this is automatically accept proximity-based meeting invitations box is checked, the MTR will accept it and log you right in. And then there are send logs with feedback. So that is the device settings. For peripherals, this is where we get to go and set all of our different audio, video. Right now, we're using the default Lenovo devices for our microphone and speakers. And for the camera, we're going to use the Logitech Meetup, which we can see as an option in here. But this particular setting is to use a content camera for the Magic Whiteboard setting, and we're not demoing that at this time. We can select our theme, and then again, Windows settings, which is where I updated the device via Windows Update, and joined Wi-Fi, again providing the admin password there. So let's exit, save and exit since we made a change there, and go ahead and do a test meeting. Okay, we're going to go ahead and click the join button and jump into this meeting. As you can see, we are now in the meeting. Our camera is up because nobody else has joined the meeting, and the meetup is sitting on the desktop, so we kind of got a view of the desktop level there. And we've got the remote control in case we need to zoom in or zoom out. See all that. There we go. We have our PTZ with the Logitech Meetup. That's a whole nother video, and I'll put a link to that video in this one in the upper corner so that you can check that out if you want to see a little more about the Logitech meetup. But effectively, this is the experience with joining from a ThinkSmart Hub 500 from Lenovo. Again, this is the same join experience across any other MTR. You walk in, you click join, and boom, you're in the meeting. You've got your toggle on or off for video. You can mute yourself. You can present if that was an option at this time. We've got our extra meeting options here, which are your keypad. You can raise your hand, turn volume up and down, and then of course we can hang up the call. And if you'll notice right down here at the bottom, we've got a green light showing up right there. So the green light indicates we are in this call actively, and instead of the white light that we typically see there. Coming in for a closer look, there's all of our meeting options. Our display is a little bit bright, but I've turned it down as far as I can. We've got our keypad option right there. We can add participants and of course hang up the call if we need to. Coming back out here, we want to demonstrate the in-meeting experience of swiveling this device. This is one of the key features that makes this device unique. The all-in-one capability of the device, in addition to the ability to swivel the screen and a full 360 degree to anyone that might be sitting around the table that wants to control the call. Maybe Jim or Sue says, hey, I want to invite so-and-so from accounting or this external contact. Let me go ahead and punch their number in and call them. Sure, we flip the screen over their way and they add that person into the meeting. And finally, we simply tap the hang up button and the meeting is over. And that is the Lenovo ThinkSmart Hub 500, a Microsoft Teams room option that is a little bit different from the other options that we've looked at previously. You've got that 360-degree swivel capability. You've got the 360-degree audio experience with a microphone array built all around the base as well as your speaker. And then you've got the compute that is in the base itself, not a separate device, meaning you cut down on deployment time as well as cables on the table. Lenovo is, I believe, working on a follow-up to this, as this one has been in the market for some time now, so keep your eyes peeled for that. If I'm able to get my hands on one, of course, you know I'll be doing an overview on it, and we'll be posting that here soon. On that note, you will want to be subscribed to this YouTube channel, and you'll want to turn on notifications so that you don't miss out on other good overviews and demos in the future. Thanks for watching. If this was helpful, please splash it all around social media for me. Really appreciate that. And we'll see you back here for the next product overview and demo.